Okay, so I just had my brother Sam come over. He had to pick up something for the Seawind. While he was here, I got him to help me screw that batten along the keel line there. This will be like a 100mm MDF fence across the top of the keel there, screwed into the front of it. And yeah, we'll just cut the fence to fit that little bump there. Not a major issue. And we'll fix up that bump in the mold itself. So because it's proud on this, it will actually be a recess in the mold. It's going to be the exact opposite, so I'll be able to fill it and fair it. And we're slowly getting closer to having all the flanges done. The only one after that one is the one across the floor. In that top fence, I'll go into a bit more detail of it shortly, but I might glue half ping pong balls to it. So when I glass up over them, it's going to leave an indent in this half of the mold. Then when I get rid of that fence and I wax it up and make the other half of the mold, we'll actually lay down into those indents, and it'll actually be like locating pins for the mold to line up correctly. So I'll explain it a bit further in detail when I'm actually doing it, and I'll show you once it's done, but yeah, that's the idea anyway. I've also gone and got the vinyl to cover these strips. I'm just going to do a few tests before I put the vinyl on there. I just want to put some on a scrap piece of MDF and then lay up a couple of layers of glass with resin. Just see how the surface of the vinyl will react to resin, just to see if it's going to melt or not. If it melts, we're going to have to use something else. So I'm just getting ready to do that test layup now. But before I do that, I'll roll this print out and give you a look at what I'm going to use. Shame to cut it all up, but yeah, that's been sitting in the shop for about 4 or 5 years now. I wasn't able to use it because it's got a bunch of small lines through it and it's a bit grainy, so I had to reprint it all. Okay, so I won't completely nerd out on why I'm using the wrap vinyl, but it's pretty much because it has like an air release technology in the adhesive, so I don't have to use any water or anything. We don't want to get this plug wet because it is MDF and it will swell up if it gets wet. So I can dry apply all of the vinyl wrap stuff and get it all bubble free. The only problem is with that print that I just showed you, it's not actually laminated, so it still is quite thin. Good for one reason: the edges of the join isn't going to be as high, so that's less sanding there. Bad for one reason, as it's a little bit more conformable, so it can possibly push down into some of these smaller holes. But in saying that, it's not the best surface. This primer, it's not the best surface for it, and if you leave it long enough, sometimes it usually pops out of those recesses by themselves. Alrighty guys, so this is the test that I was doing. I did do a pretty in-depth video on this, but yeah, it sort of dragged the video out and it was a little bit boring, so I've cut it out. It may be in a future video. But I did a series of tests on different sort of vinyl situations, some with wax, some without, some laminated vinyls, and of course a patch up there at the top there on the melamine. But all of the resins released pretty well, really well to be honest. And the only thing, few little adverse reactions to the resin on the vinyl, you'll see in a second. Just a bit of bumping, that sort of, yeah, there it is over the vinyl, just where the resin was touching it. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not really that bad, as we're going to be working on the joins anyway. So probably just a good point to add that these resins that I'm using here aren't actually the Trojan resins. This is some leftover stuff I've had from the Seawind project. So yeah, I talk about the Trojan fiberglass in the next clip, but that's for my future order. The place that I'm getting my fiberglass from, this is Trojan Fiberglass down in Cardiff in New South Wales here in Australia. They've decided to jump on board and help me out a bit. So I've been talking to Mitchell there, Mitchell Bennett, If you need any fiberglassing supplies, just hit him up. So Trojan Fibreglass, I'll put some links down in the description. So he's actually given me quite a few tips that I wasn't really aware of. So I believe they're more in the pool making side of things, like the fiberglass pool. But yeah, Mitchell definitely knows his stuff about the resins. So Trojan actually make their resins. They're not a reseller or anything like that. They are actually a factory for resins. So yeah, they know how they work. But yeah, he told me I was just going to do the whole mold with the red tooling gel coat, and then just start laying up polyester straight away. Yeah, but he's actually guided me towards vinyl ester for the first coat, for the tie layer between the gel coat and the first layer of glass. And that's because of the gel times. The gel time in vinyl ester is a lot quicker, and it doesn't shrink as much. So you can get these little, they're not really cracks, I guess. It's, yeah, it's kind of weird. Can't remember what they're called. I'll probably write it up here. That's what it's called. But yeah, so you get that if your resins react too much with like thin gel coat, or yeah, it just reacts too long with the gel coat. So yeah, thanks for the tip, mate. We'll definitely do that first layer in vinyl ester and then switch over to polyester after that. So for those of you that are sort of unaware, we'll go more into the technical stuff of the resins a little further down the track. But yeah, polyester is sort of like the cheaper resin, hence I'm going to do most of the mold in it. But I'm actually going to do the whole boat, or at least like the whole thickness of the hull in vinyl ester resin. So vinyl ester is sort of like a modified epoxy resin that's still styrene based, and you still kick it with a catalyst. Alrighty, so we're into the night now, and it's actually quite cool. It's been pretty hot during the days to work in the shed. It's a pretty good change, but yeah, I'm actually just gonna take the chance now. I'm up to a stage where if I had space, I'd be ripping those boards for the keel line there to screw against that batten. But yeah, I just don't have space, and that's why there's stuff all over my bench there. So I'm gonna get rid of that and tidy it all up. Take the chance to do that now while it's nice and cool, and just get sorted for a good day working on the plug tomorrow.
Look at all this floor space.
So
We
much,
do aerobics in here.
so many activities.
Do step class.
It's making my head spin how many activities we can do.
Play arm.
Okay, so I'm just going to rip these fences for the top. Just set up this bit of a stock there, keep the saw straight. Not that I've done that for anything else on the build, but yeah, we'll just rip these ones. I only need 2 full-length ones and then 1 shortish sort of one that I'll put on the end, and we'll just join them with tape. The keel line flange isn't all that important, because whatever we do on this side, it's going to match up on the other side anyway, because we are actually going to use the mold as the flange on the other side. If that doesn't make sense, it will later on. You'll see when I start glassing the other side. So yeah, we'll just run this real quick. I'm not sure if this is in shot, but I've got another one of these joins just towards the front of the boat there. And it's sitting quite a bit prouder than the hull. So what I'm actually going to do is just sand a little concave into this thing to get it over that bump and have it sitting nicely on the other side. It's not sitting any more flush on that downside, so I'm just going to cut this one here and we'll do the other piece a little bit longer after that. Alrighty guys, we'll leave that episode there. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty crook at the moment. Got a pretty crook back and got a flu or something like that. So this one's been a bit of a struggle, but it's alright. We'll work out. But yeah, massive thanks to Trojan Fibreglass, of course, for jumping on board, and a massive thanks to you guys for continuing to watch these things. Love the comments and the chats we're having in there. If you want closer to real-time updates on this project, I do have a Facebook page. Probably don't update it as often as I should. I'll work on that. But and also Instagram there, just taking off with Josh Peaker. But again, I'm even worse on Instagram than I am on Facebook. But yeah, if you wish, it's a good place to chat too. For some reason my YouTube notifications are a little bit weird. I only get a few every now and then, or every couple of days. I'm not sure what's going on there. So yeah, jump over to Facebook or Instagram if that suits you better. But yeah, also you might see me in some of these videos wearing a free range sailing t-shirt. If you go back to their episode, I think it's episode 109, that's titled Something Wrong With This Picture or something like that. I'll put the link down in the description there. You'll be able to see me at work. They came out on the whale watching boat while they were cruising through here, so just another sailing channel. If you haven't seen them already, jump over there and give them a like and subscribe. They are my favourite sailing channel, so yeah, jump over and check them out if you haven't done so. But yeah, apart from that, we'll leave it there. Still got the bottom flange to do before we start doing the plasticine corners and laying up glass, but they'll be in future videos. So no worries, I'm going back to bed now that this is edited up, and yeah, I'll see you when I'm better. Catch you later, guys.